to have success within reach, but ultimately chuck it away. Spursy, that's the word of the day. Are Tottenham Hotspur throwing away their fantastic season after a few injuries and a lack of squad depth? That's potentially what's going to happen. They were sitting top not so long ago. They are now sitting in fourth, only a point in front of Aston Villa. Have they chucked it away? Have they not? This is the question. Ultimately, I don't think so. I think Big Ange will sort this out sooner rather than later. I think they're almost a product of their own success at this point. Being Spursy, they almost get there. So they were leading, they were playing really well. Couple of injuries, key injuries. James Maddison, one of them. I think Adogi's out. Is it Pedro Porro as well? And all of a sudden, that lack of squad depth, that lack of being able to play on the front foot seems to be coming back to haunt them. 2 losses on the bounce now. And as I said, going in fourth, will they recover? Only time will tell. We'll get back to that when Mike is back next week. But if you haven't already, my name is Ian. Subscribe to the FDT-TV podcast. Get me tongue in a twist. It's been a very long day for me. But Manchester United. Let's move on from Spursy. Manchester United are the informed team in the Premier League as of current. That's not something anyone thought we would say. 4 wins out the last 6 in the league. They are up to 6, so they're not wallowing down in the lower echelons of the league anymore, along with Chelsea, who are now back up in a solid 10th position, starting to find a little bit of form. A lovely 4-4 draw with Manchester City yesterday was a game to watch. A few questionable VAR decisions, we are allowed to say it this week, over the weekend for a number of teams, but Haaland's one, should it have been a penalty? I don't think so. I think there was a few fouls in before that. But ultimately 4-4, one for the neutral to watch certainly, and all good fun. So speaking of being Spursy, being as that is the word of the week, Burnley flew away with the championship last year under Vincent Kompany. A new style for Burnley, no longer that sort of solid 4-4-2, long ball, direct football, which worked for them for a long time under Sean Dyche, and it worked for them under the old administration because they had a very little budget, and that's how they made it work. Hard work, tough to play against, no one's player. Vincent Kompany came in after obviously Sean Dyche left and went to Everton. I think he was sacked actually, unfairly. They went down. Vincent Kompany took over, brought in a lovely brand of high press passing football. But as with always, that success brings you up into the Premier League, which in this case is not going too well for them. They've not got that quality to be able to play that way and be on the front foot, be the Man City of the league, as you will. And they are wallowing down in 20th position. They're actually behind Sheffield United now, with Higginbottom having been picked to lose his job a couple of weeks ago. I don't think he will. Will Vincent Kompany? Questions. Again, success. Could have been successful this season, but they've been a bit Spursy. Another Spursy team, I have to hate to say it, West Ham. Europa Conference League winners, European winners. We did languish in the league last year a little bit, but we've blown really hot and cold, come out the gates flying at the beginning of the season, and then we got a little bit Spursy, and we fucked it up. We're just above Chelsea. A win at the weekend against Nottingham Forest, last minute winner from Souček, but it is what it is. So every team can be a little bit Spursy. I mean, even Manchester City a couple of weeks ago were Spursy. They lost a couple on the bounce. Liverpool again, they're not flying at full mast, are they? It's an interesting week. It is an interesting week for football. It's an interesting season so far. There's lots of things, lots of question marks that keep appearing, and things are getting answered. Everton, were they going to go down? They look like languishing all of a sudden over the last 4 weeks. 5 weeks, 3 wins and a draw. I don't know, where's that come from? Which is pushing them up the table. So let's break it down. Burnley, Sheffield United, Luton and Bournemouth are in danger of being left behind. Now, I think Bournemouth and Luton have been a little bit more in the races. I think Luton have played very well. I think they've been a bit unlucky sometimes. Burnley and Sheffield United don't seem to have been at races at all. Sheffield United are winning a draw in the last 2 games, so they've got a few points. Now they're 5 on the board, but they're not going to have enough. Can Bournemouth catch up? Yes, because they're only 3 points behind Fulham. Luton are further 3 points behind that, but I think if they don't string a few results together, even if that's draws, just grinding out the draws, they're going to struggle this season. January's going to be key for them. Just above them, you've got that group of Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Everton, Crystal Palace, and Wolves. We won't put Brentford in there because they're not going to be in any trouble. But that next sort of lower mid-table of the Premier League, any one of those are liable to drop off. I mean, we see Wolves have horrendous form at the beginning of the season, and now they're competitive again. Same with Everton. Horrendous start to the season, but now they're competitive. Fulham couldn't capitalise on the push of last year, but I think that's sort of to be expected. I think we all expected them to languish a little bit because they did so well last season, and ultimately could pay the price and be a little bit of second season syndrome, I think. Marco Silva's never, historically, I may be totally incorrect, but I can't remember him doing very well in his first or in his second season. Always does very well in his first season. Did it with Hull, did it with Everton, did it with Fulham. Second season in the Premier League, let's add. Awful. Get sacked. Not good. But I think any of them are in danger of dropping down into a relegation fight. Now, Brentford, Chelsea, West Ham and Brighton, solid mid-table. Teams you would expect all to push on a little bit now, especially Chelsea, that said, and West Ham. We've spent a fair bit of money, but Brentford and Brighton are those that are they're those teams that will always be around mid-table, and every few seasons they will push up and challenge for that 6th spot. Above that group, see, here's let's go in a bit more depth. West Ham, I think we will be a mid-table team this year. I don't think we're going to get Europe. I don't think we're going to win the Europa League because of the quality opposition in it. I think we'll have a solid season in the league, finish sort of 9th, 8th, but I don't think it's going to be enough for European football. Chelsea, I think, will push on. We've seen the quality start to come through now. They're buying into that Pochettino philosophy. They've started to find their feet a little bit of confidence, and they are having players coming back. Reece James is coming back now. You've got Nkunku to come back. There's still a lot of first team players who could walk into that squad, be the first name on the team sheet out injured. So I think they will have a better second half of the season, but they're starting to find their feet, and if they can maintain it, they will be at the right end of the table when their push comes. Above that, you've got Newcastle, Manchester United and Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa I was going to include in the top 4 push. I think they've got the potential to do it. They're playing really well under Unai Emery. It's a match made in heaven. Perfect size club for him. That's what he usually manages in Spain. That sort of size club, big fan base, but not the expectation that win the league every year. And he does really well, and he wins Europa leagues like they're going out of fashion. So I think next season, I think this season Aston Villa will do really well. I think next season they will get European gold. Just saying. Newcastle, Manchester United. Now, Eddie Howe's doing really well with Newcastle. I think he certainly surprised me. Last season, they have the added pressures of Champions League football this year, and that's not going great for them, but they do have quite a difficult group So that's sort of to be expected in that sense. But both can find their form, both can push up the table, and I'm sure both will spend a little bit of longer going into the January transfer window, and they're the teams to watch in the second half of the season to make that top four push. Now, we spoke about Tottenham Hotspur, the Spursy side. And I've said this every week. I like Ange Postecoglou. I would have liked him to replace David Moyes last season. He's gone to Spurs. They've got a very good manager on their hands. He plays a certain way. He attacks. Even when he went down to 9 men, still attacking. It's very brave. Some Spurs fans not so happy because obviously they end up losing. But I think it has to be commended to not go, oh, let's park the bus. I think they will be okay. I think they will. I don't think they'll win the league, but I think they'll finish in the top 4 and get a cup. I think they have the quality to do that. I think it just depends on those key injuries to those players and whether Daniel Levy does go, actually, there's something here. Let's back him a little bit. Let him bring a few more players in, give him a bit more squad depth, and they'll be all right. Arsenal, one of 2 teams who have only lost 1 game. They've not got the quality. They've spent on Declan Rice, yes, but they're not playing him as defensive midfielder. They're playing him that Xhaka box-to-box role. Now, Mike will probably disagree with me, but I don't think they're going to win anything this year. I can't see them winning the Premier League. They're already out of the Carabao Cup. I think they will do the same with the FA Cup and not take it seriously. And that they won't win the Champions League. I can't see it. I may be wrong, but I think this could be a season where they finish 4th, and I think out of all those teams in the top 4, they're at most danger of dropping out, partially because who knows what's going on with goalkeepers, partially knows because they haven't got really a 20-goal a season striker, which historically you need to be at that end of the table, and I just think out of the teams around them, they all right, they were contenders last year. Give them they pay their dues, but they're not going to win. They're not going to win. They're going to be a bit Spursy, if you will. Is it right in the grasp? But that weight of expectation of the Arsenal fans now to be competing for the title, they get a little bit carried away with themselves sometimes. So it's not all good. Liverpool again had a bad season last year. Klopp has carried on. They've refreshed. They've brought in some younger players. Szoboszlai. I really can't speak today. I've got his name down to a patter because I love him on FIFA and Football Manager. But he's quality signing. Gakpo's in again. Jota's back. They've obviously still got Salah. They've got a few other midfielders as well. But you can start to see that young, youthful exuberance, enthusiasm to play attacking football again, and they're going to be the right end of the table. And finally, the everlasting power that is Manchester City, who I am pretty sure are going to do 4 on a trot this year. They've had a bit of a slow start to the season. I think even Pep would admit that. They're not firing on all 4 cylinders, or 6 or 12, or however many. They're not firing on all cylinders at all. Partially Kevin De Bruyne's injury. Obviously, he's a wizard. Nothing more said. Any team would miss a player of his quality. I think their focus has to be domestic cups this year. I don't fancy them winning another European trophy. I think they will get to the right end of that tournament, but I can't see it. What I could see is an FA Cup and League Cup double, or FA Cup and Premier League double, possibly. But we'll wait and see. They are still scoring, high scoring. But yeah, that's my opinion on the league so far. The fact I'm not even getting to VAR. It's a joke. We all know that. I still think there's a big thing on match fixing. We're the only league that hasn't been hit by any sort of match fixing. They're hitting players and not hitting organisation. It will get there eventually. Watch this back when it does. But what I will ask is that you leave in the comment section below who you think is going to be the most Spursy team this season. Is it going to be Tottenham Hotspur, or is it going to be someone else? Let me know.